Well, hello everybody. This is Carla and welcome back to the studio. Let me just make sure that everything looks good on here. YouTube is being very fussy as of late. For some reason, they've changed things again, and just want to make sure everything looks good. I changed the orientation and it wants to change it again. I flip it so you can see this first, not my ceiling, and it doesn't do that. So it's just being fussy, and I apologize in advance. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me back here in the studio. This is Carla, and I hope that you've been having a good week so far. So, welcome to another episode of Throwback Thursday. For this Thursday, I am using what was a mega suite. This was from our January to June mini catalog. With this suite, there's the Flowering Tulips bundle. So you have the stamp set where you can do some two-step stamping with the tulips. And then you have the dies that will not only cut out these stamped images, but also some other pieces where you can actually create the paper tulips just by doing some paper piecing. So the flowering tulips stamp set, it bundles with the tulips dies. And then also in this bundle is the Tulip Fields stamp set along with the Windmill Fields set of dies. This too has a couple of dies that will die cut some of the stamped images, and then you do have some other dies to where you can actually do a detailed windmill as well. Also in this suite there is, what is this? This is called the Flowering Fields 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. In here we have Calypso Coral. There's something in my packaging. Calypso Coral, Evening Evergreen, Fresh Freesia, Highland Heather, Mango Melody, Pear Pizzazz, Petal Pink, Pool Party, Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie, Rich Razzleberry, Soft Succulent, and so Saffron. So a lot of nice bright colors, nice tulip images in here, and some nice background type of designs on the other side. Also in this suite, there is what is this called? This is the Evening Evergreen Windowpane check ribbon. And then one of the items that's from this suite that is still available to this day in our annual catalog. This was the suite that the brushed brass butterflies were part of. These are still available in our annual catalog. I do like these, being that they're metal. They are also flat, so they're perfect for those cards that you mail that doesn't add a lot of bulk to it. So we're using these as well in these projects. And that is all that was part of this suite. Now, before I start, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping really quick, just to let you know what is going on. I go into more detail with this on my Friday night lives, and as a heads up, tomorrow being Friday, I will be live and I will be featuring the Umbrella Days bundle. That is a new online exclusive item that you can currently get. You will find that in the online store. So I go live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I hope that you can join me tomorrow night. So just a couple of things that's going on. Stampin' Up! Still has their designer series paper special release. They took 3 old pattern designer series papers and they recolored them and renamed them. So the Refreshed Beauty that has all these nice bright colors in it. It used to be Blackberry Beauty. It's the same design, it's just different coloring. The Blackberry Beauty had like rich raspberry, Blackberry Bliss. It had some gold foiling in it. And this pack of paper, this coloring does not have any foil in it. But so the Refreshed Beauty is a takeoff of the Blackberry Beauty. Serene Love is a takeoff of True Love, which we had a few years ago in it was either January to June or January to April mini catalog. So originally all these patterns were in black and white, and now they've given it some color. And then we have Shades and Hues, which is a takeoff of Color Theory, which was, this is a 6x6 size designer series paper where these two are 12x12. This was in an annual catalog a few years ago. And again, they just refreshed it with some new current colors. So these are still available. There is a link that will take you to the online store where all the designer series papers are. And these should be right up near the top of all of those images that you'll see in the online store. There's still some items that are 30% off that are labeled as close to my heart products. The link, I believe, will be in the description of the video. Now, some of the things, yes, they'll state that they're 30% off. Now, some of these items, once they're gone, they're gone. But there are other items like flip flaps and page protectors. These are things that they're going to carry on. They're still going to be available. They're just removing the product that had the Close to My Heart name on it. So there's no end date to it, so it's kind of like while supplies last on those products. But again, there's still a lot of things that will be carrying over now. Close to My Heart cardstock colors or ink colors, their workshop kits. Those items are items that once they're gone, they're gone. The two-tone cardstock, Stampin' Up! Is going to be carrying all of the colors. They'll appear in our new annual catalog that comes out in a few months. Right now, there is a scrapbooking brochure, so there are some colors that are available in there. Again, the link that's in the description will take you to all the products that are part of this 30% off. So that's that. Um, Last chance products. This is something that Stampin' Up! Typically does. They start it like a month before a catalog is to retire. Typically, when that catalog has officially retired, then the last chance products, this whole thing goes away. This year, they're doing something different. Last chance products are going to be updated, I believe, every 2 months. So the last chance products not only includes items that were from our just recently retired holiday mini catalog, but it also includes items that are from that were in the online exclusives and also the items that are on it that were in the clearance rack, along with some of the older kits that are in the kits collection. There are some items that have already discontinued. They're sold out, but there still is quite a bit of stuff available. There is a link that will take you to the online store where all of the last chance products are. Now, a lot of the holiday mini items in there, they will be located in the online exclusives. There are quite a bit of items that are actually not retiring, not as of right now they're not, but somewhere down the road They just might, but the Last Chance Products is still carrying on, even though that holiday mini catalog has now officially retired. Also, I do not have a link for this in the description, but this is just a little heads up about Paper Pumpkin. I go more into it when I get my kit. Now, the February kit, no, the January kit, it had just shipped, so probably sometime next week when I get it, I will have the video, and of course I'll go into more detail. But right now, the subscription period for the February kit called Hello Spring is now come out. This particular kit does coordinate with the Grow with Love bundle. That is one of the bundles that is in our one of the new online exclusive items. Um, so the subscription, not prescription, the subscription period has now opened. It goes through February 10th. In addition, Stampin' Up! Is also doing repeating what they did last year. So last year they came out with some coordinating add-on. They came out with dies, and the set of dies, they coordinate with each quarter's kits. So this one here will coordinate with the January, February, and March kits. Now these dies, they're not needed to complete any of those projects. This is just if you want to do some more alternative projects, maybe with anything that you got left over, or maybe you don't want to make the projects that are as they are shown in the kit. Maybe you want to think outside the box, do something a little bit different. So that's where these dies can come in handy. And again, you don't need the dies to complete the projects in the kit. This is just to do some extra stuff. My understanding is, I think the last time I checked, all the sets of dies from last year's kits are still available. They are located, if you go to the online store, it's under kits, Paper Pumpkin, and refills, past kits, and more. Um, in the US, these are $12, I believe, and the item number is 166237 for these. You do need to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber in order to get these. But again, I will go into more detail about it next week, sometime next week when I go and do my Paper Pumpkin video. Like I mentioned, there's a few things that are now gone live. This went live. All of this has gone live January 7th. And this is the January 2025 scrapbooking brochure. Now, this isn't a paper publication. This is a digital download. I do have a link that will take you to it, to all the items that are part of this brochure. This is, there's some scrapbooking workshop kits that are in here. Some of these kits do coordinate with some of the bundles that are in our current mini catalog. And there's some other little extra stuff in here. So there is two-tone cardstock that is in the Stampin' Up! Colors. And come the new annual catalog that comes out, all the scrapbooking stuff will then be in that annual catalog. And then even in future mini catalogs, all the scrapbooking stuff will be included in it. Stampin' Up! Does their catalogs like 18 months in advance. So when the time had come that when Close to My Heart closed their doors, and Stampin' Up! Kind of brought on some of those makers and some of their products. It was too late to include in the catalog. So we had a scrapbooking brochure for September until the end of December, and now we have this new one for January. So again, this has got all the scrapbooking kits in it and sticker sheets, and there are some stamp sets too. Again, there'll be a link that'll take you to where all these products are. Like I mentioned, our mini catalog has now gone live along with Sale-A-Bration, which is Stampin' Up's biggest promotion of the year. So Sale-A-Bration goes from January 7th through February 28th. And for every $60 or $120 that you spend, you can choose a free item out of this brochure. There is also other promotions within Sale-A-Bration that happens as well. It's not just getting that free product with your purchases, but if you host a party or a get together, or maybe just a group order, if that order is at least $300, so again, it could be a party order or it can be an individual order, you'll get to choose an additional $30 worth of product of your choosing. And also the joining special during Sale-A-Bration, you do have two options. The starter kit is 90, here in the US, it's $99 plus tax. The shipping is included, and you get to choose $125 in product. And during Sale-A-Bration, you have two additional options to add on to your starter kit. Option one is you get to choose two marker sets from our Stampin' Write marker assortments. So that could be a set of brights, neutrals, regals, and subtles. And plus, you'll also get an exclusive stamp set that is designed to work with the marker. So you can choose which two packs of the markers that you would like. So this is an additional $91 value. If you are not interested in the markers or maybe that stamp set, the other option too is that in addition to the $125 that you choose, you can choose an additional $30 in products. Now, to be a demonstrator, that does not mean you need to do what I'm doing with the videos and holding classes and such. You can simply be a demonstrator to receive the discount and all the little perks of being a demonstrator. Um, and of course, I do not pressure anybody in doing anything that they don't want to do. I mean, if you are interested in doing a business, I can help you with that. If you're not, that's fine. I will tell you that basically most of my team, they are basically getting the discount. They are thinking about working it as a business, but they're not ready for that. And there's just no pressure. So, but if you have any questions at all, any questions, feel free to reach out and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. And again, here is our new mini catalog. I can now open it and show you items that are in here. I don't have much from in here. I do have a few things. I'm going to try, and as a matter of fact, there is a big mega suite, just like what I'm using today, that is called Storybook Moments. So you have two stamp and die bundles, and you got some ribbon and embellishments, and then you actually have two packs, a 6x6 and a 12x12 pack of designer series paper. And with the 12x12, there are two sheets of die cut pieces in it as well. So I do have this, and I actually am doing a two-part Friday Night Live at the end of the month. So the first part of the month, I believe I'm using the storybook. The second to last Friday, I'm going to be using the Storybook Garden Patch bundle along with the rest of this stuff here. And then the last Friday of January, I'll be doing the Storybook Friends with all of the rest of the products in that suite as well. And as far as I know, I will be live with that. It should not be pre-recorded. Last Friday, it was pre-recorded because we did get a snowstorm on Friday, and I didn't want to take a chance of losing either my power or my internet and not be able to go live. So I pre-recorded it. So with that, let me bring in what I need for my first card. So again, this is Throwback Thursday. And for my Throwback Thursday, I bring out retired product and I use it. And the one thing that I definitely have plenty of is retired stuff. So I've had a lot of good feedback about my Throwback Thursdays. One thing I do need to grab really quick is a little ruler. I didn't do my little cheat sheet with measurements up front, so I have my ruler so that way I can let you know what the measurements are. And there are some things that I did ahead of time as well to save some time. So for my card base, I have a piece of Petal Pink. This measures 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4.25. I have a piece of basic white. This measures 5 by 3.75. And then out of a scrap of basic white, I went ahead and I stamped this tree using Pear Pizzazz and die cut it. I die cut, well, I stamped first some of the two of each of the large and the small clouds. I did that in Pool Party. And then the smaller, the image of the windmill, I stamped that in soft suede. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of coloring here. We're going to do some stamping. I'm going to first fold and burnish my card base. And we will take this and we will set this aside. And then I'm going to bring in this image of my windmill and I'm going to do some coloring. Now with this, I am not going to bring in my blends. I'm actually going to bring in my watercolor pencils. The colors that I am using are Calypso Coral, Early Espresso, and Basic White. I believe that these colors are in the assortment pack 1. Okay, so I'm going to take my Calypso Coral. I'm going to color in the door. Now, I'm not pressing really hard, so I just want like this subtle coloring of the door like so. And then I'm going to take the Early Espresso. Now, Early Espresso is a darker color, so I'm going to go really light with this. I'm going to color in the solid part of the blades of from the windmill. And hopefully you can see well with my lighting. So, and let's see. Okay. All right, and then you see these shadows on the side here? I'm going to go really light on the sides here where there be shadows. Okay. And then I have the white pencil that's part of that. And I'm just going to kind of blend my Early Espresso here a little bit just to get some of those harsh lines kind of blend that out. And then I'll do a little bit here on the door, lightening that up a little bit. Okay, so I'll set that aside. Okay, so then on this piece right here, let me just measure something really quick here. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to bring in is my Post-it removable labeling tape. Now in our catalog we do have masking paper. This is good if you just want to mask off a particular area, like what I'm going to do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do use one of my little small blending brushes, and let me pull it out, my Pool Party ink. So we're going to do the sky. I want to measure about 2 1/4 inches down. Okay, so that's that line right there. So I'm using the grid on my grid paper to kind of line this up like so. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper. Now I know that this grid paper here is a little messed up, but we're going to try and save it a little bit here, and then I'll replace it as it gets even worse. Okay, so on this top part here, so I masked this off. This is going to be where I'm going to do my stamping, and then up here I want this to be my sky. So I'm going to bring in my Pool Party ink, ink this up, and I'm going to start off on my scratch paper so I don't have that harsh mark on here, and then I'm just going to lightly brush some Pool Party ink onto this top part of my basic white. So I want just a really subtle sky. And what's really cool is that my clouds, when I place them on there, they're going to pop a little bit more because this won't be white in the background. A little bit more up in that corner. Okay, so let's close that up. So it's very, very subtle. All right, so now I'm going to take this masking tape here, and we're going to kind of flip this now. So we're going to take it and we're going to line it up just a hair under that inked line. And then I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat, because this is a photopolymer stamp set. And since it doesn't have that foam cushion like the red rubber does, I need to put this under here so I get a good stamped image. Okay, so I'm going to place this. I will be stamping a little bit off of this cardstock, so I want to pull this up a little bit higher. Okay, so then we're going to do our field of our tulips. So I'm going to take, let's see what color I want. I want So Saffron. Okay, and then there's this one stamp, this one big stamp that has what would be, excuse me, the top row of these Field of Tulips. And I'm going to take my ink pad actually to my stamp since this is a bigger stamp. And I'm going to ink this up. And we'll close it up. And then I'm going to stamp this, but you see this centerpiece? I'm actually going to come over a little bit to the right. And I'm going to try and line this up. Like so. Okay. We'll set that aside. And then I'm going to bring in my Highland Heather. And then there is this stamp here that we'll use this to do the rest of our filling in. So I'm going to ink this up in my Highland Heather. I'm going to come over to this side here, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. Trying to make sure I can kind of see where I'm putting this. So I'm going to stamp this one here, like so. I'm going to ink it up again. Probably can't see what I'm doing. Okay, and then over on this side, I'm going to come over and see where that layer of that So Saffron is. So I do want that little bit of a gap between the colors. Okay, close this up. Then the next color I want is Calypso Coral, and let me get my Stampin' Scrub and clean this stamp really quick. Actually, we'll clean this one while we're at it too. Alright, kind of moves that out of the way. My desk space fills up very quickly, and then you start to run out of room. And I don't know about you, but I struggle a little bit when I got too much clutter around me. Let me get this out of the way and bring this back in. Okay, so then I'll bring in Calypso Coral. Ink this up. And I'm going to come in right over here. And stamp that there. Okay. And then the next color is going to be Petal Pink and then Mango Melody. All right, but I do need to clean my stamp first. Okay. And we need Petal Pink. I'll put my stamp up here so you can see what I'm doing. This up. Okay, and then this one is going to come over here, like so. Okay, close that up, and then our last color is going to be Mango Melody. I apologize for the shaking. Okay, and then, so this last little piece right here will be our Mango Melody. Okay, and then we're going to come in. So there's a little bit more of a gap here. Quite a bit of a gap, actually. Could have moved it over, these over a little bit, but kind of get the gist. So we just got a little pathway right there in between our rows of our tulips. Clean this up really quick. Okay. Now it's a matter of assembling our cards. So let's take our masking tape off of there. Okay, and we'll get this out of the way. All right, so I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to glue it down to my card base. Actually, there's a little bit of stamping I needed to do to this first, but I'll put this down first. Okay, and this will go right here in the center, so there is a bigger border here. Okay, now this is what I should have done before I glued this down. I want to bring in my, let's see, where is it? My Pear Pizzazz ink. And then there is a stamp that has this little itty bitty cluster of trees. And where my point is, I want to stamp one right off to the right. Just kind of lining up the base of that with the top of that row of flowers. And then I'm going to add another one right over here, like so. Oh, I missed the half of it. There we go. Okay, close this up. Okay, and again, ahead of time, I had stamped the tree in Pear Pizzazz and die cut that. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. And then we have our windmill that we've colored in with our watercolor pencils. So I'm going to put two of the larger ones on there. And then I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals. And for these, I find it's easier to use my take your pick tool to pick these up and to place them on the blades of my windmill. Now I'm placing this. If you place it where you have the flat edges of it on either side, you'll see that it fits perfectly. I'm going to add one to each of these. We got one more right here. Okay, and then for the clouds, I'm going to just use my liquid glue on that. So I'm going to take one of my larger ones here. I'm going to place this one right up here. And of course I got glue on me. Oops. Okay, and we'll take our other large one. We'll place this one right over here. Hold that down for a moment. Okay, we got our little ones. Okay, this one. I'll place this one right up here. And then our other little one. We don't need too much glue. This one is going to go right over here, like so. Okay, and then we're done with our glue. And let's take our windmill, remove these paper backings. Okay, and then this is going to go right over here, like so. Okay, and then our tree. Okay, and then this is going to go right over here like so. Okay, and then for our embellishments, we have our brushed brass butterfly. Say that a few times fast. It's your tongue twister. And we're going to add one large one and then two small ones on here. Like so. Okay, so there is our first card. So again, just do a little bit of practicing with the stamping. I could have brought these layers over just a little bit, and then that gap between that Highland Heather and Mango Melody will be a little bit smaller. But there is our first card. Just to kind of show you a sample, here's a sample card I made, and you can see that I left a little bit more of a gap, so it looks a little bit more evened out as opposed to that. But again, just practice on some scrap for a little bit and you'll get it. All right, so the second card, let me bring in the stuff for that. It's actually getting a little warm in here. Okay, so this is going to feature the the products that are from the Flowering Tulips bundle. And again, I did some die cutting ahead of time. And let me kind of move some stuff out of my way. Okay, so I have a piece of basic white thick. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of pumpkin pie. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. Then I have a piece of that designer series paper. This measures 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Ahead of time, I had die cut this label out of basic white. This comes from the Greetings of the Season set of dies. These are part of a suite that was an online exclusive, and these are actually still available in the online exclusives. So I die cut this ahead of time. And then one of the dies that's in the set of the dies, the Tulips dies, there is this one die here that it doesn't actually cut the bottom. You would line this up with the bottom edge of your cardstock. So if you wanted a bigger piece on the bottom, you would just move this up on your cardstock, and then you would have a larger piece underneath all of these. So I had die cut this out of Mango Melody cardstock. And we're not going to need this whole piece. This is going to be glued onto the side of our tag. So we're going to add a little bit of interest on there. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to fold in, burnish my card base. And let me get my bone folder. Okay. And then I'm going to add some glue, and I'm going to adhere the designer series paper to the cardstock, and then it's going to go on to my card front. So let me get my liquid glue. Okay. We'll center that. Okay, and then I'm going to adhere this to my card front. All right. Place that right there. Okay, so then we'll set this aside, and then let's do some stamping. So again, it's a photopolymer stamp set, so I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I'm going to bring in my scrap paper as well, because I'll be stamping off just a little bit on this tag. So on here, there are stamps that you actually do two-step stamping with. So you would stamp one in a lighter color, and then the other more detailed in the darker color. So I'm going to be using this flower here along with this one, and then we're going to use these leaves and this stem. And you can see that in this set, it has some really nice greetings to it. So thankful, thank you. You are so thoughtful. A happy Mother's Day. No one deserves a happier birthday than you. Love you so much. Let today be the start of something new. This was actually the stamp that I used on the calendars that I made for my coworkers last year. And then the one I'm going to use today is the one that says just thinking of you today. Okay, so let me look at my sample here because we're going to stamp these in both Mango Melody and Saffron. So we're going to go with the yellowy orangey colored flowers. For my leaves, I'm going to use both Pear Pizzazz and where's my other one here? And I'm going to also use soft Succulent. Now for my greeting, when I go to stamp that, now I would typically use Memento Tuxedo black ink, but I really want the deepness of a just a really dark black to show, because I'm going to be stamping the greeting right over my stamped images. So instead of using an ink pad to ink up that greeting stamp, I'm going to use my basic black Stampin' Write marker. So you don't want to use the Stampin' Blend marker, which is our alcohol marker when you're coloring on your stamps. You definitely want to use a water-based marker like our Stampin' Write marker. Okay, so I am going to look at my sample here so I know which is which on here. So let's see. So I have my little sample card over here, so just bear with me. Okay, so this is our Mango Melody. This is going to be our Saffron. Then we have these other ones here too. So that one and that one. Okay. All right. So what are we stamping with first here? So we're going to do, let's see, our Mango Melody one. Okay, I'm going to ink this up. Mango Melody is one of those colors I was sad when they retired it, because what I really like about it, when you look at it, it almost looks like it's pumpkin pie. I mean, you can tell it's a bit lighter, but I really like this color. I wish they didn't retire it. They had actually retired the Stampin' Blend markers in this color before the rest of the stuff had retired. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this one right over here, like so. And then I'm going to open up my Saffron. And I'm going to ink this up. And then I'm going to line this up to the best of my abilities. Stamp that down right there. And then I'm going to take, let's see, this is going to be our darker one. And this one's going to get stamped right over here. And then our Saffron. We're going to line these two little bumps here to what's on the top of this stamp. Like so. Okay, so then we're done with these. Okay, we'll put those, get those out of the way. And then on my stems of my flowers, I'm going to use the soft Succulent. And I'm going to ink up the stem. And then I'm going to stamp this down. Now again, it's going to come off of my tag. And then I'm going to flip this around because I want my stem to bend in the right direction. So I'm just going to flip it around and I'm going to line this up here and stamp it down like so. Okay. And then we're done with this. And then for my Pear Pizzazz, I'm going to stamp my leaves. So there is a larger leaf and a smaller one. I'm going to start, excuse me, I'm going to start with my larger one here. Ink this up and kind of come down here. And then we'll take and stamp off of this stem right here. Okay, and then our smaller one, we want I'm going to stamp this one right here. And then we want to flip it. And we're going to stamp it right here. Okay, so we got the leaves on our flowers. And then I'm going to bring in, there is a stamp. That's for the center of the flowers. And then, of course, there's my greeting. And for this, like I mentioned, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Write marker. So I don't need my scrap paper here. And since I want this to dry a little bit before I stamp on it, so now when you use your Stampin' Write markers, you want to use the brush tip. Now you can do this on your red rubber stamps as well. And I'm going to use the side of the marker. And I'm going to color that. Now if you add ink to your block and you don't stamp it right away, to moisten the ink on here, just huff on it. And then we're going to stamp this right in the middle of our flower, like so. And you can see that the black is a nice dark black. And then I'm going to ink up my greeting stamp here, again using the side of my brush tip. And again, you don't want to use your Stampin' Blend markers, which are the alcohol markers, because you will not get that ink off of your stamps. Okay. So I'm going to huff on this. Want to line that up so it looks straight. And then I'm going to stamp this right down here. Like so. Okay, so we'll put that aside. We don't need our marker anymore. So there is our stamp tag. And you can see that I did need the dark, the dark of the greeting to show when it's stamped on top of those leaves. Okay, so the stamping part is done. So now let's kind of assemble this. So I am going to take this piece. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to add it on to the side of this tag. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to bring in my seal. I'm going to add some seal on the back of this like so. And then I want to bring in my silicone craft sheet. Okay. And then I want to take this, I want to place this here. And then I'm going to, let's see, we're going to add that right to the side there. And now I'm going to trim the rest of that down. So I'm going to bring in my snips. Okay. We'll snip this. Like so. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side here. Gotta snip a little bit more here. Okay, so that way we just have a little bit on the side here. And then I'm going to add dimensionals to the back of this. We'll need these scissors too. What do I need? I need my dimensionals. And then we'll add one more to the very top here. Okay, let's remove these. Okay, and then we don't need this anymore. So let's get that out of the way. Let's bring back our card. And then this I want to place at an angle. Like so. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in that ribbon. What was this? This was the Evening Evergreen Windowpane check ribbon. And we're going to make ourselves a bow. Okay, so let's snip this side right here. And kind of make it somewhat even. Okay. And then let's get our glue dots. Now, when you got a bow this big, what I like to do is like to put a glue dot on either side of that center knot there. Okay. We got another one. And then we'll add our bow right here over that hole of the tag. And then we're going to bring in our butterflies. And let's get our Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to take one of my larger ones and I'll place that right there. And two of our smaller ones, we'll place one right up here and another one right up there. Okay, so there is our second card. I'll show you how that came out. Now, I did not add any Stella to this. Usually I use my Stella when I use my alcohol markers. When you use Stella on something that you have stamped, or if you had used your Stampin' Right markers on, you take a chance where that ink may end up smearing as soon as you wet it with the Stella. So I figured since there's kind of enough going on this card that I didn't add any Stella. So here is, and there's a little bit of blue goobers on my tag, but there's our second card. And then let me bring in the first card that we made. So here's the first one. And again, practice a little bit on adding these layers here, so that way you have, you know, more of an equal distance in between your rows of your tulips. Again, I did a little bit better on the sample card. Like they say, as soon as you turn the camera on, you know, things tend to, like, you forget words, or things kind of like just not work. But yeah, just practice and you'll have like more of an even row in between those colors. So I thank you for joining me for my this episode of Throwback Thursday. Again, Throwback Thursdays are where I pull out my retired stash of product and I create with it. Sometimes it's the first time I've put ink to it, sadly, but this is one way that I use it. And again, I've had some really good feedback from people where they like that I pull out the retired stuff, because now it gives them inspiration on using, pulling out that product again and using it. Now tomorrow, like I said, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be going live with my Friday Night Live. I will be featuring the bundle Umbrella Days. That is a new online exclusive. Hope that you will join me for that. What I do is at the end of my lives, I do a drawing for the cards that I made. And it doesn't matter if you're in the US or not, cards I can mail out. It's just product that I cannot. So I hope that you can join me tomorrow night. Also, if you like the projects that I made in this video, please give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It not only helps me in growing the channel, but it also helps me in growing my Stampin' Up! Business. And of course, between the likes, the subscriptions, the shares, that all helps out where YouTube gets my videos out there for more people to see. So I hope I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then, everyone, wherever you may be, stay warm, stay safe, especially if you're in California. Praying for all of you that are dealing with those horrendous wildfires down there. Praying for your safety, praying that they can get those all contained and get them out. And then there's just that long road to rebuilding. So just know that I am praying for you. And until then, everyone, have a blessed one. Bye-bye.